Hey everybody, welcome to the Private Club Radio Show, where we give you the scoop on all things private golf and country clubs, from mastering leadership and management, food and beverage excellence, member engagement secrets, board governance, and everything in between, all while keeping it fun and light. Whether you're a club veteran just getting your feet wet or somewhere in the middle, you are in the right place. I'm your host, Denny Corby. Welcome to the show. In this episode, I am chatting with Gracie Humbert, who is Director of Food and Beverage. At the time of this recording, she was the Director of Food and Beverage at the Hideaway Beach Club, but since the airing now, she has taken on a position as the Director of Food and Beverage at the Quarry Beach Club. Still in the industry, still doing it, still killing it. And this is a really cool episode where she discusses the challenges that she faced during the recent hurricane and the hurricane recovery. We talk about the unique aspects of working in private clubs and the importance of mentorship in her career. And it's cool because she actually got her start in clubs through a job fair. She didn't even know about clubs. So we also talk about the cultural insights gained from her time in Ireland and how that relates to clubs and how she took that into the club experience, as well as some of the cool innovative events and initiatives that she has implemented at her club to help enhance the member engagement and really create a sense of community. I'm excited to bring her on. Before we get started, if you have not done so already, sign up for our newsletter. And I will be in the process of putting out the Club Entertainment Guide. So if you want early access to that, make sure you sign up for the newsletter, privateclubradio.com. Big thanks to some of our show partners, Kenneth Member Vetting, Golf Life Navigators, and Concert Golf Partners, as well as myself, the Denny Corby Experience. There's excitement, there's mystery, also there's magic. The most fun member event night you will do. Magic, mind reading, and comedy. It's a blast. Learn more at dennycorby.com. Enough about that. Let's get to the episode. Private Club Radio listeners, let's welcome to the show Director of Food and Beverage, Gracie Humbert.
Actually funny. So we're down in Naples, Marco Island is where our club actually is. But I actually just drove up yesterday to Fort Myers, and they got it much, much worse than us. So we're very lucky down here in Naples. And then it seems that on Marco, our club is beachfront, and we have 2 miles of private beach. And it seems that we got it the worst out of anywhere else on Marco. So I don't know. It's routine by now, unfortunately, but we kind of know what the deal is when we come back in, and we have it kind of down by now. So, yeah.
So you, the club, have 2 miles of beachfront property?
2 miles of, 2.1 miles of private beach.
That's a lot. That's a lot of space.
It is. Yeah.
Wow.
It's not all, our clubhouse it's also spanned over from all like the condos and homes that have their own beachfront, but it's all technically owned by our club. So,
oh snap, yeah. That's impressive. That's impressive. How's it been? You've been at the club for how long? 3
years now.
And you found clubs through a job fair, like a career fair?
Mm-hmm.
What'd you originally go to school for?
Well, I was in college for hospitality management, but in my head that only meant hotels and restaurants. So I didn't actually know what a private club was until I just got to talking to one of the food and beverage directors for a club. And then he was explaining it to me, and obviously I interviewed with them, and I went and worked for them, and I was like, oh, this is like the best kept secret that I've never heard of. I'm not going to restaurants or hotels.
Do you remember exactly what about the clubs that intrigued you, and then what kept you in?
I was honestly very intrigued just because I came up from such a sport family. So, between watching golf on the TV as a child and watching tennis on the TV, and we would always go to our neighborhood courts and play. And then I competitively played lacrosse my whole life. So what intrigued me so much about it actually was I was like, wait, so I get to serve food and beverage, but in a sport kind of environment. That's actually what really, I was like, that's awesome, because I get to talk to the members about golf and tennis, but I'm serving them food. I was like, that's so rare. Like, I don't get to do that at a hotel or a restaurant. Everyone has different interests. Yeah. So that's what really sparked my interest to begin with. And then, just the community that it forms and having regulars and getting to know them is what kept me coming back, I guess you could say.
That's a really cool perspective. I did not even think about that. Just having that ability to connect with people on that level. And you played lacrosse?
I played lacrosse my whole life. Yeah.
That's a very like that's a wild. I was just that you're the second. I was chatting. I was performing Saturday at Berkshire Country Club in Reading, and Paul Bovenzi, we were just talking about his kids and family. His 9-year-old daughter plays lacrosse. I was like, not field hockey, lacrosse. He goes, she's
Yeah.
the sweetest little girl, but you put her on that field, man. He's like, I don't know who she is.
Yeah, that's what happened to me, I think too. Yeah. It's yeah, you come alive, I guess.
What
No, it's an awesome sport.
do you still play any sports? Do you golf? Do you still play lacrosse? Are you still active?
Yeah, unfortunately, lacrosse, you can't play much past college, I'd say. There's not really a demographic for it, but I've definitely picked up the pickleball and golf, is pretty much what I spend my time doing now, or just running and things like that. So, yeah.
Nice. And so, what's it like being food and beverage director of food and beverage at a club in Florida in 2024?
It comes with its challenges, but honestly, I think it's a really awesome time to be in the hospitality industry in 2024. I mean, I feel like ever since um, COVID, that term that people are so sick of hearing, but I mean, you saw such a dip in the industry. And so it's kind of, but clubs were the place where, we started to thrive. And so I think that it was a super exciting time. I mean, that's kind of when I came into my management was in 2020, actually, is when I did a manager in training program. So I went through the whole kind of lull and then saw them only going up and up and up. So my whole club experience really has been post COVID in management. And it's just been a great time where people, when they find someone in the industry that is, wants to be in it, they try to hold on to you. And so it's kind of a benefit in that regard. And they want to, teach you everything that they know, at least from my perspective for the mentors that I've had. And then they want to pour into you, and then just the community too that you've been able to form with other club managers. So it's been an awesome time so far.
What have been some of the most impactful takeaways you've learned from your mentors?
It's a good question. I think that, I mean, some of the most impactful takeaways that I've had from mentors, whether it was lacrosse or if it was in the club industry, it was really just them seeing something in me that I couldn't see in myself. And now that I'm in my manager role, kind of how I'm now reflecting that to people below me, I feel like, I wouldn't say that I am significant. I don't, just from a confidence perspective, right? I think that when you start anything, you have to have the confidence to do it. And so just by someone spending a little bit extra time with you or saying, hey, even just pointing out the things that you did wrong. I mean, because they're taking their time to point out what you could have done better. And that's kind of, inspiring you to go and do it, and how you could, look up to them and one day be like them in their shoes if they're a general manager and things like that. So just being able to see something in me that I maybe didn't see in myself and giving me the confidence to keep pursuing it.
That's cool. That's cool. I was just performing at a club by me yesterday, doing a Magic and Mimosas brunch show, and as I was setting up, it was really cute. I don't know if cute's the word, but so the kid must have been fairly obviously new to the club. I think just new to food and beverage and hospitality in general. He was like a little bit younger, and he was like putting out the napkins. And the one kid was like, hey, just make sure you do it this way. Make sure the seam is over here. And it was like this neat little like cute moment that like I was just setting up, like had my AirPods in, but I can still like hear because they were close by. And to me, it probably wasn't like a mentor mentee moment, but just like one of those like little things, just how he was like, hey, bud, like real quick, just make sure, because like, the members are picky here or something. I forget like what the exact thing was, but just like how he like phrased it and like told him how to like do it. It was really neat.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I mean, everyone reacts to criticism differently, but I feel like I'm definitely motivated by kind of like if someone tells me good job, that's great. But if someone's telling me, hey, you could be even better next time if you do it this way, like that's what's really sets well in me. So,
yeah. And you also did some time over the pond. Sorry, I should have phrased that better. You did some time behind bars, right? No, you did. Did you do some time over in Ireland?
Yes. Yeah. So I got the opportunity to go work over there, which was really cool.
How long were you there for?
7 months in total.
And then what was that the plan? Just to go over for like a quick stint and then come back? What was that like?
So, I mean, the reason why it came up is kind of I was in my, spring semester about to graduate college, and I went into my advisor's office, kind of a, what am I doing with my life moment? I need advice. Like, what should I go do? And she asked if I had studied abroad yet. And I said, no, studying abroad was pretty expensive, just never did it. And she goes, well, honestly, you should go work abroad and do an internship abroad, like post-grad. She goes, there's no better time to do it. I mean, do it now. And so I was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. So she kind of, she had this place in mind, and I interviewed with it and I got it. And it was like half golf operations internship and then half food and beverage internship. So I just did 3.5 months and 3.5 months in the department. And it's, 5-star, one of the best hotels in all of Europe. And, the golf course, they compare it to the Masters here in the US. So it was just like one of a kind experience, and just got to go work over there, and then did a lot of traveling while I was over there too on my days off. So yeah, it was really cool.
What were some of your takeaways from working in Europe, and what was maybe some challenges, some differences? What are some things was there anything that you took from, the States over here and brought with you? And then was there any things that you brought back?
I would say that, well, for one, I was a little nervous about being homesick and being around like a different culture, but 90% of the guests who go there are American. So that wasn't really an issue. So I felt very at home, and it was such a small world. I mean, I ran into people who I'd see them wearing a t-shirt from, that high school that I was rivals with. And
what?
I'm like, it was so crazy. And so it's just like small world of like people that I would run into over there. But I feel like, what I learned from living in Ireland is just their ability to make anyone feel welcome and anyone feel at home. I mean, it's like you're walking into one of the nicest 5-star resorts, and you feel so comfortable as a guest walking in there, and it doesn't feel stuffy. Like, I feel like you can walk into somewhere here and it's like you feel out of place, and like don't belong there, maybe if you don't have all that money. But it's just like they're so welcoming, so warm. They just want to get to know you and who you are and where you're from, and like that's all they care about. So it's just trying to carry that back here to America and to clubs, because I feel like we have the tendency to, like I said, like if you're walking into the Ritz, you just feel kind of uncomfortable. But I feel like in clubs, it's people with millions and millions of dollars, and you're making them feel at home, and like they don't need to wear their nicest jewelry and all that stuff. So that's kind of my takeaway.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And you at your club, you're doing a lot of new things, trying to bring some more energy, some more life into your club, right?
Yeah. So, I feel like we've kind of gone through a transition, I'd say over the past 4 years, with our new general manager who came in 4 years ago, and then, bringing in a new team and a new perspective into what we can offer our membership. I would say that the membership before, they weren't unhappy, but they didn't know what they didn't have. And so being able to kind of bring the experiences from, bringing in managers who have worked all over Florida or the country or the nation, and being able to see, okay, we can create something really awesome here for them. And there's a desire for it that maybe they didn't even know about. And so being able to, with the new management, new ideas and new events and new ways of just, making it different and making it exciting, and just raising the bar. So we've kind of been able to do that over the past couple of years.
What are some of those initiatives, some of those events, some of those things that you've brought on that the members are like, this is amazing?
I'd say 2 big things that they look forward to every year. And after, it finishes, they're always like, when's the date for the next one next year? Is really our New Year's Eve party. We do a huge blowout New Year's Eve party. And then we do a huge concert on the beach. That is just like, there are 2 favorites right now. And it's just, it brings in for our concert, we're up to around 800 people for it now. And for our New Year's Eve party altogether, we're probably doing, for all night, probably around 900 people. So it's just events that they've never seen events that size before. They used to cap it at, say, 300 or 400, or obviously with Thanksgiving where you're flipping tables, it's different. But for one event happening all at once for 800 people, they've never seen that before. So one, we're able to do it because we have the staffing for it now. We're able to do it because we have the manpower to, set up 800 chairs and tables and things like that. That they've just been really, really excited for. So
when did you start the 900 person? So that's a fairly new thing for you in the club?
So it's just grown every year. So the first year they did it, I believe it was 2021.
Oh, so they didn't even do it before that?
No, they never had it. So 2021 was the first one. And I don't know my numbers exactly because I wasn't there for that one, but I believe that one maybe was like 300, 400 people.
So in
But
three
then it's,
years, you've 100,
yeah,
you've grown it 100%
yeah,
year over year. That's
yeah,
wild.
yeah. So I feel like we've pretty much capped
Yeah.
it. Like we
There's
can't
no more
grow
members
much.
left. Every member is there that night. Like everyone's there. No.
Yeah, I mean, because we have 630 members, like like households.
Right.
So then times two. But they bring in their families. They fly them in from out of town, and we've pretty much maximized kind of our capacity for that at this point. But yeah.
How do you prepare for that? Like that's a lot of people. How do you, like, how many staff are on that night? Like, tell me about New Year's. Like, tell me about that, because I'm just fascinated. That's I think the growth is tremendous and amazing, but how do you get ready for that?
Well, again, luckily, so our general manager and our previous clubhouse manager they've seen events like this before,
Yeah.
right? So they know what to do. But for our New Year's Eve, so we have our grill room, and our grill room is our fine dining event for the New Year's Eve dinner. So that probably maxes out around 150 people, and we have the staff who are designated to working that. But at the exact same time, we have our beach party going on for New Year's Eve, and that's where everyone else is pretty much. So we have tables and chairs out on the beach. We have our DJ on the beach, and then our pool deck and one of our restaurants called the Sandbar. We completely clear all the furniture and we just add in buffets. So we have food stations everywhere, bars everywhere, just to try to appease the masses. And so on our beach is probably around, I want to say 700 people in total. So we have to do the seating for everyone, making sure that the flows of the buffets make sense, making sure we have enough bartenders. So we have been bringing in some temp staffing just for that night. And then after that, at 9 p.m. is when our after party upstairs opens up with another DJ in that room. And then that's when everyone is invited, whether you were at the beach party or not, because if you couldn't get into the event or whatnot, you can just come if you're having your own thing at your house. And that's just kind of open to everyone until midnight. And then it's just all hands on deck everywhere.
What time? Wow. You must be cleaning up till like 6 a.m. That's got to be wild.
Yeah, probably around 3 or 4, but
That's not too bad. That's not too bad. What's some of the challenges that you've seen trying to do the New Year's Eve event with that many people?
Our challenges have been one, the reservation side of it. So, with it, we open up our reservations 30 days in advance. And members were getting upset because we were selling out very quickly. So, we would sell out within, I'd say, a day or two. And, they're saying, well, why does so-and-so get to reserve spots for 20 people? That's not their family. We want to bring in our family. So, designating, okay, what is a family member? How many days in advance are you able to, reserve for a non-family member? So just like working out the logistics in that way, the cancellation policy logistics, and then I'd say the bar logistics, because the way that it was working was, we had writers assigned for the bars. And so essentially the bartenders obviously just be giving the members drinks and then just verbalizing the member number, because we don't have point of sale systems to ring on the beach. And so, making that transition to just an all-inclusive open bar, because we just cannot physically meet the demands of trying to write down what everyone is having. That was probably, the most controversial topics that you could get pushback on, I guess, of members like, this is just going to cause, too much partying and things like that if it's not contained, if it's just an open bar, but, assuring them that we would do extra training with our bartenders on when to stop serving and things like that.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most, as far as when we start setup, so we decide to close down the beach pretty much 4 days in advance now, just to start. We have to get the rentals in, we have to put the chairs down, the tables down. That just takes a long time to physically do that. So kind of the setup process for sure too.
So to go back quick, when it came to the reservations, the 30 days out, the groups, the cancellation policies, what do you like, what processes and what things do you have in place now for that? So like, how does it work for the club? So now if a member comes, like, how does that work? Like what did you guys do to alleviate that problem, or like what systems and processes you put in place for it?
Mm-hmm. So we discussed it heavily with our social committee. So we got a lot of input from them as well, and what like the feedback that they hear from the surrounding members. We rely on them for that, as well as ourselves going out and talking to the membership on kind of what the standards should be. So we're still kind of tweaking it every year. So we think that this year we might open it up more than 30 days in advance, just to relieve some pressure off of our reservationists who take phone calls and emails, because it can just be very overwhelming on the one day that it opens. But basically the plan that we implemented last year, it might change again a little bit this year, was, to deem someone a family member, they have to be, directly correlated to the member. So that can be, daughter, son, their kids are okay, things like that. One thing that so it's really just if they have friends. The friends, we opened up the reservations for them about 2 weeks later. And so after 2 weeks, we also implemented our cancellation policy. So if they didn't cancel within 2 weeks of the event, then they'd automatically be charged either way. So then that kind of, then we're able to look, okay, 2 weeks out, because we have to reserve the things regardless. So it's kind of, okay, so when are we going to put a hold on this? And so with 2 weeks cancellation out, we would see how many people we actually have, and then more people are able to join. So
you talked about progressive dinners.
Mm-hmm.
What's a progressive dinner?
Yes. So, think of a progressive dinner that maybe, I don't know if you would do this in a neighborhood before, but we've had neighborhood progressive dinners where, you go to one person's house for the starter course, one person's house for the entree course, dessert, so on and so forth. So we decided to bring that to our clubhouse, to make it fun for our summer membership when we have the staff to do it, and when we have the rooms to do it, because not every room is occupied in the summer. So, what we did was we brought in the membership. We capped it around 24 people, just for room sizing. And we put each course in a different room. So the members came in, they were greeted in the lobby with champagne, and then we brought them through the kitchen. So we showed them our kitchen as service was going on, mind you, for the a la carte. So it was kind of cool because they were able to see the operation. But we gave them just a little past hors d'oeuvre in the kitchen and kind of walked them through and had chef explain in that room what was happening. Then we walked them over to one of our side rooms, which is called our orchid room. And in there, they were greeted with another chef who was actively making their salad course. So kind of like a live action salad course. And then we served it to them in there, and we paired it with another beverage. And then we brought them to our grill room where they had their entree. And then they were greeted by chef again, explaining the dish to them and carving it tableside. With more wine pairings. And then we brought them back to our lobby where they originally started, but we had completely transformed it at that point. So it was kind of that wow factor, because they walked in and it was, just kind of how it normally is. But then when they were brought back into the lobby, we completely, changed the furniture, changed the lighting, added decor, made it look really cool. So they're kind of shocked. And then that's where their dessert was being prepared again, live from chef, and kind of explained. And then we had martinis lined up all at the bar for them.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was just something that they had never experienced before. And it was a really cool event, and great to have their feedback too.
And you've been using, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you've been using the off season a little bit to test drive new ideas, different things, and kind of just trying it at a smaller level, to see kind of how it plays. And kind of was it using like more influential members as well, getting them to it? So then if it is a good time, like there is some legs, there's some juice to it. Now you have a cheerleader, you have people who've done it and have some excitement about it. So then when it does come about, when like you want to do it at a higher level, now you have people who are like, oh no, you got to come. It's going to be a great time.
Exactly. I think that it's great to test things in the summer. I feel like summer in Florida a lot of times is when people kind of pump the brakes, and they say, we just had a busy season, we're going to relax a little bit, which is awesome. Trust me, we do that too. But I think that, we really came into the summer thinking, okay, how are we going to test things out to make it even better for next season? So we wanted to plan our calendar. We wanted to get events on there that they've never seen before. And we wanted to do that by first testing it over the summer with a smaller group. I think that, our summer members give us a lot of feedback because they're there year round. And they're kind of like, do anything for us during the summer. It's just a la carte. And we're like, okay, we're going to change that perception and we're going to make it special for them. So we put on a ton of pop-up events, whether it was a wine dinners or wine 101s or the progressive dinner or speakeasy. And we said, look, we're going to put on all these. And we had great turnout for them too. We even had some members who kind of saw the marketing that we were doing and they flew in from wherever they were up north just to come down for the weekend to come to one of our chef's tables or whatever it was, because we can't physically do all these things during season when we have all of our dining rooms full. So they're like, if we want to come, we have to come now. And so kind of seeing how we can add those back into the calendar and allow more people to come during season, because we had really great feedback.
That is so cool. That has to be a great feeling for like you and the club and everybody just going like they're flying in just for our little chefs. That's so cool. That's so cool.
It was awesome.
And to get people to come back from the north to Florida in the summer, that's a huge accomplishment. Congrats.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It was a really great feeling. So overall, it was a great summer, and we're excited to add some of the events back for the season too.
That's awesome. Anything else you want to add, talk about? Any cool stuff you're working on? Anything's got you excited?
I think, post hurricane prep, I think that, us as a club and our team, for better or for worse, these hurricanes that we go through, they more or less bring us together. And it's cool to see, we come in whatever dirty clothes we have and, we're stuck in mud and everything. And then we feed the members lunch every day just on the grills since we were out of power for a while. I think we actually just got it back this weekend. But it's just cool to see us all come together. And I feel like it's a great kickoff for season as well. So just really looking forward to that and kind of how we can make, that community feel and that home feel, and being an extension of the members' home is really what we're always striving for and working for, and creating that like world-class member experience. I mean, we have members who are very well traveled and they provide really great feedback that we're kind of doing things better than they've seen overseas, or, they've seen some of the coolest, nicest hotels and resorts, and just that they still just want to come to Hideaway because they love it so much. So, yeah, it's just a great feeling.
Any season plans or events or things you have planned that you're super stoked about or that the members are excited about?
Again, just trying to add in these events. So we started the new series of our chef's table where they actually dine in the kitchen, which we had never been able to do before. So great feedback on those. Definitely want to add some of those to the calendar. More of the progressive dinners. And then a really, really awesome one was our speakeasy, where we, transformed our storage basement area where we keep tables and chairs, added some string lights and up lights and cool kind of dungy decor. And they had to knock on the door for a secret password and all that stuff. So just those little events are really kind of, I feel like, what makes the difference that we're able to do. So looking forward to that.
Before we wrap up, why don't you tell me about the speakeasy event? Because we were talking about that before, but I love the speakeasy feel, the vibe, all of that. So what was fun about that? Tell us about that. What else did you do? Like what little cool quirks and things? And
yeah. So again, since we're right on the beach, our main floor right when you walk in is just our storage, and then our member dining room actually starts when you walk into the lobby. It's just stairs right away that go up. So downstairs in our storage, members don't go in there. It's just everything for wine storage, beer, all that stuff. But we were walking around it as management team one day, and we have air conditioning down there. So it's air conditioned. And someone was like, well, why don't, we're trying to come up with these cool ideas again for our summer membership of what we can do that's different. And so I was like, well, why don't we just do something in this room? And, we're all looking at it and we're like, this is where our dance floor is and our stage and our, we have to move all these chairs, all these tables. And we're like, what do you mean? And then people just keep saying like, yeah, like we could do a speakeasy. Someone had done a speakeasy event previously at a different club. So, they were like, we can totally transform the room. We can cap it around 22 people. We can have the chef come and describe each course, and we can have a bar in this corner over here, and we can be making the drinks table side, things like that. So it was really just with other people spewing ideas of the decor they wanted to buy. We got costumes for the staff with that kind of like 1980s feel. And we were just able to, we got a live pianist to come down there, which was just really cool. So we texted the members on the day of, and we said, look for this sign, which was a wanted sign of our general manager. And they go, when you see that sign, knock on the door and then say the secret code and someone will let you in. So then we were standing there and we would open the door and lead them into the room. And they were just, they were like, we've never even known that this place existed. And they were just kind of blown away. And they had so much fun and they were there all night. And they're like, you need to do this, every Friday. We're like, well, I don't know about that, but
that's so cool.
We'll definitely try to do it again.
Next time, what you need to do is try to get like local police to come and like bust the speakeasy or something, or have like people like dressed up as police and come and be like, That'd this thing is busted. Go home. Like, or I don't know.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Gracie, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Hope you all enjoyed that episode. I know I did. A like, share, subscribe. Anything you can do to help move the channel forward costs nothing and means the absolute world. Share it with a friend, colleague. Share it with your members. Let them know what's going on in the club space. That's this episode. Until next time, I'm your host, Danny Corby. Catch y'all on the flippity flip.